Aussie traveller savage swipe after she's wedged between two obese people on a plane. Airline stunning flip after woman claims she was trapped between two overweight people. Woman who fat shamed overweight passengers on a plane awarded compensation. Ladies and gentlemen, an Australian woman has been trapped on a plane between two enormously obese individuals and she complained on Twitter. So here's the question. Should she be cancelled? Absolutely, she should be cancelled. She should have everything taken away from her, bank accounts frozen. What a horrible person. Without a doubt, air travel sucks as it is. Sitting in a tin can far above the world, surrounded by farts. It's just awful. You are surrounded by babies screaming, Karens carrying, and masked heroes demanding that you put it up over your nose. Get over it, lady. It is a mess. From the moment you get to the airport to the second you leave it, it is just awful. And take it from me, a comedian who travels most weekends of the year, it sucks balls. And it turns out I'm not the only one who hates it, because a conservative commentator who lives in America, an angry, evil witch of a woman who also probably kicks puppies, Sydney Watson, who's also my friend by the way. Sydney was recently flying through Middle America and she was trapped between two extremely obese people, two giant fatties. If you've ever been trapped in an elevator, this was the exact same feeling. The walls were closing in. Obviously the artery walls is what I'm talking about. Poor old Sydney couldn't bloody move the entire flight. She even went to Twitter to complain, and that's when the Twitterverse got very mad at her and started calling her fatphobic. Now we're going to get to that in a second. But first, this video is brought to you by an amazing sponsor, and I want to thank that sponsor, and you should thank them too by downloading their app. The link is down below. This video is brought to you by the great people at Pokerist. I love playing Texas Hold'em. I love poker, going everywhere to casinos, but there's no casinos around me, so now I can actually play it on my phone with real people from around the world. It's amazing. Pokerist is a great way to play poker with new friends, old friends, and not only can you play the game, but you can chat, you can beat your friends in tournaments, and it's a great way to build social connections through a very fun hobby. Users must be 18 plus to access the game, and the game does not offer gambling or an opportunity to win real money or prizes. Practice or success at social gambling does not imply future success at gambling. So here's some things that I like about Pokerist. I really love becoming a part of that large online community. It's one of my favorite things is to become a part of a hobby and then join everyone else who's talking about it and really getting into it. And with this, you're not playing against computers, you're not playing against bots, you're playing against real people, which makes it so much better. It's like a social network. And if you get bored, there's 11 games to choose from. How could you possibly get bored? Download Pokerist using the link in the description or scan the QR code right here on the screen to get 5,000 chips as a bonus. It's available on the App Store, it's available on the Android App Store, it's available everywhere. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you in the game. Go and download Pokerist now to support the channel. So rather than sitting and drowning in flubber for a 5-hour flight in the dreaded middle seat, Sydney Watson decided to go to Twitter and complain about what was happening here. You filthy fucking fat shamer, Sydney. Everybody is beautiful, you absolute piece of shit. But here's the thing, it wasn't like they were just normal obese people, right? They weren't just normal obese people. These guys were so big, not only did they need the seatbelt extender, and I've seen people use the seatbelt extender before, mainly on TikTok, there's a fat girl that goes around flying and shows fat people how to fly. Beautiful message, love it. But these guys didn't just have the seatbelt extenders. Sydney couldn't even put her tray table down because the gullets of these individuals, so full of chicken nuggets, wouldn't allow it. Now that's some fucked up shit, ladies and gents. How does one's gut get so big that it protrudes all the way from a seat? Like, how far is that? Like, that far? Towards the fucking seat in front of you that it takes out the tray table? The tray table's one of the only good things that happens on a plane. It's where the little chips and things come out.
At this point, I try to put my tray table down and I physically can't because the woman to my left, her belly is protruding so far that I physically can't get the tray table down. And in fact, in order for me to do so, I would have had to shove it down and, probably hurt her somewhat.
As you can see there, Sydney is unfortunately getting a mouthful of these people's belly button lint because it is, well, in her face. It's entirely in her face. This is ridiculous. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Sydney's complaint was a little bit warranted, particularly because they didn't move her. Like, if you're that fat, buy another fucking seat, mate. Anyway, she tweeted at American Airlines, "We need to talk. I'm currently, literally, wedged between two obese people on my flight." I'm glad she used literally correctly, because a lot of people don't. You may have heard the expression, "I'm literally dying." No, bitch. No, you're not. This is absolutely not acceptable or okay. If fat people want to be fat, that's fine. But it's something else entirely when I'm stuck between you and your arm rolls on my body for 3 hours. Now, Sydney, the use of capital letters there is disgusting. Why did you have to write obese in capital letters? That's fatphobic. Why? Huh? Why do they appear bolder than the other letters? What's wrong with you? I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're an anti-Semite as well. For no reason, but if you're fatphobic, you probably are. And you hate penguins. But I would, in Sydney's situation, have the shits as well. Like, fucking move me. Like the aeroplane people, the people on the plane, they know, they can see that this is not okay. Fucking move me. And I get that some people see what Sydney did as disrespectful and mean, and it is a little bit mean, but she also lives in the world that I live. She's a YouTuber, right? And we see a lot of people of this size, people of fatness, who flaunt the fact that they are absolutely giant. People like Lizzo. I know I always use her as an example, but she loves the shit. She loves that she's fat. Her Instagram fucking handle is Lizzo Be Eating. She's huge, right? So when people live in a world where they think it's okay to be that big, and not even just okay, of course it's okay, but they are proud of it. They are inspired to be bigger. When you go and get on a plane and flow out all over the seats around you and upset everybody else, that's not okay. And when people like Sydney know about the fat activists and the body positivity movement, they know what a lot of obese people in the modern world carry on with, then I understand why she would be shitty, because there is a high chance that these two fat fucks sat there thinking, hey, this is my space. All of this is my area. If you come near it, it's your own fault. Like, look at this lady.
The imperfectness of my body and the room around me. To not have to be posed at every second. To share how my body is, how it's growing.
How it's growing?
Shame that I went up another size.
Another size? Another 10 fucking sizes, mate. Could you imagine a man doing this? But this is what I'm talking about. This is the attitude of a lot of obese people.
22.
And you look at the comment section and people are like, yes, it's crazy. We were taught to hate this. It's simply gorgeous. Shut the fuck up. And that's exactly like people like Sydney or me would have the shits in this situation. Sydney continues, I don't care if this is mean. My entire body is being touched against my wishes. Fair fucking point. I can't even put my armrest down. Jesus, on either side because there's no fucking room. But let's be honest, Sid, do you really need armrests when you got two beautiful pillows next to you? I'm sick of acting like fatness to this extent is normal. Let me assure you it is not. Fucking that's the point right there. And people act like it's normal and it's the way that your body's supposed to be. No, dickhead. No, it's not. If you need a seatbelt extender, you are too fat to be on a plane. Not a bad point. Buy 2 seats or don't fly. Okay. Not a bad point. Maybe not everyone needs 2 seats. I guess it depends on your size. But if you know that you are overflowing into the seat next to you, fucking buy 2 seats, you fat fuck. Like honestly, if you are overflowing into the seat next to you and one more cheesecake will put you in the middle of that seat, you should be either buying both of the seats or fucking walking to wherever you're going. I don't give a fuck if it's overseas. You'll fit in with the fucking whales. This next bit of what Sydney said fucking did my head in. I said to the man, hey, can we swap seats if you'd like to sit together? His sister is on my left. He says, no, that's okay. And then I started shrieking internally. People just don't give a fuck about other. This is Americans though. If you said that in Australia, people would do anything for you. But this, as someone who's been to America recently, ladies and dudes in America, fucking cheer up, will ya? Fucking put a smile on your face and cheer the fuck up. So how did this all go down on Twitter? Well, people in the comments section were very, very mad. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should have some class since you're a doctor. Oh yeah, in Sydney's Twitter bio it says she's a doctor. She's not a doctor. That's hilarious. And even the media reported on her being a doctor. You fucking dumb fucks. And I thought they had some standards. Fat shaming, being cruel, and just plain rude. Who are you to judge? Shame on you. I'm obese due to health issues. I can't help it and don't choose to be fat. Bull fucking shit. That said, I agree with you. You paid for your seat. You're entitled to not have people encroaching on your space. You also shouldn't have to pay more to avoid the situation since it's not your fault. She agreed with Sydney. But still, you're full of shit. That's another thing that people were saying in the comment section. If you don't want to sit next to people, sit in first class. No, there is a seat for a reason. There is a seat for each person for a reason. Don't sit in other people's seats. And that's what these bellies are doing. So what happens when people are being mad on Twitter? Well, the media sees it and makes a clickbait shit article so more people go to their page and look at their ads and they get paid more. Amazing journalism. This was from Brooke Rolfe at news.com. An airline is hit back after an Australian-American woman went on a Twitter rampage following a 3-hour flight in between two overweight travellers. A Twitter rampage? Really? That's what she did? For a woman who I've never met in real life, spoken to over Zoom a few times, she appears to be quite small. Well done on a rampage. Sydney Watson, a conservative right-wing American-Australian. How many other fucking describing characteristics can you come up with? Political commentator who is no stranger to controversial subjects. Now that's a hyperlink. You can click on that and it goes to another story. The story that it clicks on, the controversial subject, was about a rally where people were fighting for men's rights. Here's one of those really controversial quotes, right? You ready? It's okay for you to stand up and have your rights listened to and have your issues addressed because there are things that uniquely affect men. Men's issues matter as well. That's so controversial. What a piece of shit Sydney Watson is. American Airlines later clapped back at Watson, telling her the company didn't discriminate against any body type. Our passengers come in all different sizes and shapes. We are sorry you were uncomfortable on your flight, the Twitter account for the airline replied. It went further to explain how the system worked after being probed about why seats for typical size for medium build, how is that okay, don't worry about the typical size. How is that a clapback? Is that a clapback? Is that really a clapback? I imagine a clapback is like a, hey, and you just fucking give it to the other person. That's not a clapback. A clapback's not when you go, I'm sorry you didn't feel great. Oh, what a clapback. American Airlines, not a clapback. American Airlines even eventually paid Sydney $150. So they tried to be all body positivity and then they gave her $150. So you're full of shit. So what do we do here? Well, it's tough because we have people who are obese who are probably trying to lose weight. They may carry on with this whole thing of like, no, I'm healthy. Bullshit. No, you're not. You're a fat fuck and no one wants to be a fat fuck. No one. And your size and your failures in life to maintain a certain amount of calories without overeating shouldn't impede others and their comfort, particularly on a plane. Now, I know this because I'm 6'8", right? And I always try to sit in premium economy. I don't fly business because I'm not a fucking idiot. Unless it's like a really long flight. I'm not a fucking idiot. I'm not paying 10 grand to fly to fucking Melbourne. Jesus. So I always sit in the emergency row because I'm also great in emergencies. Point being, if you need to buy 2 seats, fucking buy them. That is your own fault and nobody else's. But also, airlines have policies to stop obese people flying without buying 2 seats if they're that big. I imagine that would be a very hard policy to enforce. But they could just fix it by, I don't know, making decent sized fucking seats on planes and making them comfortable, you fucking money hungry. To wrap this video up, I challenge Sydney Watson, the conservative witch, to put on 300 pounds by this time next year, or she can't comment at all. You bigot. Be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East with extinct. Blah, 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 blah.